if these mindsets or if these methodologies are implemented, there'll be a exponential improvement in teaching. So number one is This is Simerjeet Singh, and this is the final video in the series of my suggestions to improve education ecosystem in India. We've done videos for teachers, parents, students, and leaders of academic institutes thus far, and this one is aimed for folks who are involved in the thinking and conceptualizing and implementation of policy. I think a lot has already been done with the NEP 2020, which brought out some interesting, radical and much needed changes, and I will just capture from my understanding some of the most important points that if these mindsets or if these methodologies are implemented, there'll be a exponential improvement in teaching. So number one is the shift from rote memorization to critical thinking, innovation, creativity by promoting why not, and what if sort of learning more in examinations and how exams are evaluated and how students are evaluated. They should be evaluated not just on pure memorization of what happened, when it happened, and where it happened, but also their interpretation of why it happened, and what if this wouldn't have happened, what else would have happened, and what lessons we can learn from them, so that instead of just absorbing facts, they're also able to fire up their imagination, their critical thinking, their innovative abilities, because those are the skills we need for a changing world where we need more entrepreneurs, more job creators, more critical thinkers, more innovators, right? And that is where our policymakers can come in by ensuring that our examination system moves more towards these criteria rather than strict memorizing dates and where it happened and who were the people involved, but also shifting more on how it happened, what circumstances led to it, how we can ensure these things don't happen again, and how we can learn from the best in the world. Interdisciplinary learning is already happening, but I think it's down to more to the implementation of this policy. If students can learn science and art and psychology and e-commerce, those are the combinations we need these days, because one, just learning, if you're a humanities student and you have no exposure to, let's say, e-commerce, for example, you're going to be left out in this world. And AI, and what's happening with AI, and should everybody be learning with AI prompting, and how these trending, new, changing skills can be quickly included. So I think policymakers and then institutes and the implementation has to be more agile, more flexible in order to fulfill the changing needs of the times. Skill-based learning, it's already happening in a lot of educational institutes in India, and there are some specific universities, especially the Vishwakarma University in Haryana, which is a 100% skill-based university. So a lot of progress has been made on those fronts. But to all of the policymakers and all of the leaders of educational institutions, I say, let there be more skill-based learning. For example, can they learn about how to do their taxes? Can they learn about financial literacy, investing in mutual funds and stock market, and doing their taxes, and more real-life applications, a little bit of coding, a little bit of how to use AI, etc. And also, this can be accomplished through experiential learning. So more internships. I know there's a program out there called the Prime Minister's Internship Program, but can we encourage more small, medium businesses to hire more interns? Can more students be given time during the day to have an internship? Can college not be so burdensome that they don't have any time or energy left to do an internship? Can we reduce that theoretical load a little so that students have more free time, which they can then invest in hands-on internships with local businesses, with local entrepreneurs, local small and medium enterprises, so they can see what's happening outside the four walls of the educational institute. And that's where policymakers come in. Can we reduce the workload, the hours of the students, maybe wherever possible, Can we delegate them more? Can we have remote learning for subjects where they do not need to come in class, so that they now have the time and the resources and the energy to take on internships? And I'll close with this: teacher training. I know it's already happening. In fact, a delegation of teachers from Punjab went to Singapore also recently. As the new government took over, that was one of their first steps, to send their best performing teachers and principals on a tour to Singapore to see how they teach. And Singapore does a very good job. Finland has been known over the years for very good teaching expertise. So it's not just sending them abroad, but I think continuous learning, teacher training needs to happen very frequently, and especially not just within academia. Let us not have a lot of learning conferences where only academicians are speaking to other academicians. Not only thought leaders are speaking to teachers, but also practice leaders. Let's get people from the industry, let's get people from politics and sports and all different sorts of domains to come and speak at these conferences meant for teachers, so that their continuous learning cycle remains moving forward. So those were my suggestions. Please do share these videos with people who you feel are in a position to implement some of these policies. But even if not implementation, I'll be happy even if we can just start a conversation around these subjects. Because once these things permeate our conversations, we are more solution oriented than discussing the problem endlessly. We've discussed the problems endlessly over and over again. We know what the problems are. We need to shift our focus more towards the solutions. You and I can do that. People who can influence these sort of conversations, and I am pretty sure that with wholehearted participation of people who are concerned about the state of education in our country and across the world, will jump in with their ideas, because they're people with great intentions, great expertise, great knowledge, great background. All we need is a little bit more creative thinking. All we need is a little bit more we need to move away from the tunnel thinking and into the peripheral thinking to figure out what's happening across the world. What are the new things happening? We need to challenge some of our old ways, some of our old conceptions and beliefs, and move with the times, and not just move with the times. Education should prepare our youth to be ahead of the times, and that's how India will reap the demographic dividend which we have. We have the world's largest population of young people. And unless we harness their potential constructively, we won't be able to get very far. I hope this series has been able to spark some thoughts in your minds. Thank you. If you watched all the 5 videos, do share them. Share these videos with other people in academia or outside. And we would love to hear your feedback, as always, in the comments. Thank you. See you next time. Cheers.